Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. A really good YouTube viewer, Mr. Opal, in a really slick looking video, made a video where he quoted me in talking about the Victor Ortiz Floyd Mayweather fight, and he made the argument that he thought the fight was more lopsided than I did, and he used my own words in making the argument. He pointed out that in an earlier video, I pointed out that Manny Pacquiao had only landed 13% of his jabs against Shane Mosley, who didn't seem to be moving that well and doing that much in the fight. And I had pointed out that a fighter who lands only 13% of their jabs cannot beat Floyd Mayweather. Now, I did make that statement. I do not believe that Manny Pacquiao beats Floyd Mayweather. Obviously, I believe Mayweather wins that fight. What I should have added to the statement was if they fight like Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao fights a very different style than Victor Ortiz, right? Manny Pacquiao comes after you. He's aggressive. He comes in, he tries to hunt you down. He doesn't fight backing up. He fights predominantly going forward. Occasionally, he backs out, obviously, after ambushes. But as Emmanuel Stewart noted during, I believe it's toward the end of the ninth round of the first Juan Manuel Marquez Manny Pacquiao fight, as Pacquiao's backing up, he's really not doing that much. He doesn't counter you. He doesn't throw punches, right? His game is to come in. It's volume. He's high volume, right? Manny Pacquiao's a guy who's throwing at least 80 punches around. He's known for volume, right? His volume was down against Shane Mosley, but before that fight, Pacquiao was high volume. Take a look at his CompuBox numbers from his fight against Joshua Clottey. The whole point of my Ortiz video, and Mr. Opal pointed out, that Ortiz hardly landed jabs when he fought several opponents, most notably Lamont Peterson. And he's right, that's true. But the whole point of that Ortiz video was I was making the argument that if Victor Ortiz charges Floyd Mayweather, like Manny Pacquiao, quite frankly, charges many people, I think he loses the fight. Because Floyd has a great defensive stance, and Floyd wants you to come up against his body armor, his defense. Floyd wants you to be aggressive so Floyd can counterpunch you, right? I view that as the wrong strategy. My point is simply Victor Ortiz, yes, 6-1 long shot, has a chance against Floyd Mayweather if he fights the fight that Jean Pascal fought against Chad Dawson, who's very similar to Floyd in many ways, has body armor, right? Has a defensive shell as he goes around the ring, right? I thought if Victor Ortiz fights the kind of fight that Pascal fought against Dawson, or that David Haye typically fights, where he's outside, right? He's not charging Floyd. He's outside. He's leading with not jabs, but power punches, different type fight, where he fights not a high volume, but a low volume ambush fight. I think he would have a chance against Floyd Mayweather because Ortiz, unlike Pacquiao, unlike most in boxing, but like both Pascal and David Haye, he has one punch, knockout power in both hands, right? All he has to do, and it's easier said than done. Obviously, this is a very difficult road to travel, but all he has to do to win that fight is to land hard once. And the point is, the best way to beat a counterpuncher, in my opinion, is to give him nothing to counter. And Ortiz has the foot movement to pull it off. As I pointed out, as Mr. Opal pointed out, right? As both of us pointed out, Opal was quoting me. In the first round of the Nate Campbell fight, take a look at Ortiz's movement. What I want Ortiz to do, what I think would give him the best chance to win, would be to be outside Floyd's range, to be outside Floyd's left hook, right? So Floyd can't hit him with a quick counter, to be far outside, then to plant it, and then to come in when he sees an opening, right? To force Floyd to walk around the ring. Then as Floyd's walking around the ring, when Ortiz sees an opening, to come in with a power punch. Could be a lead right hand. Could be a lead left hook. Could be a straight left hand. But I want Ortiz to come in with power. What that ambush style does, as Jean Pascal taught all of us, myself included, is it actually uses the defensive shell of the ambusher's opponent against him, because that ambusher isn't around. He's not in front of the defensive fighter bumping up against that defensive shell. Another example of what I'm talking about, only with a slightly different style, was George Groves' fight against James DeGale. Now, people here know I thought DeGale won that fight. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But what Groves did was he was a mover. He was outside. And so rather than try to charge DeGale, rough him up inside, run into what Alan Booth calls DeGale's blender, and also running into DeGale's defense, right? His entire defense, his entire defensive construct. What George Groves did is Groves stayed outside and kept moving, forced DeGale to move to him. And of course, as DeGale came forward, Groves would hit him with a few punches, then back out, right? Low volume ambush fighting is a little bit different. What Jean Pascal's doing, what David Haye does, is a little bit different. These guys aren't coming in with, a jab and a lot of punches. They're coming in with power shots. Take a look, 12th round, Nikolai Valuev against David Haye. David Haye, who hurt his right hand earlier in the fight, fakes the right, comes in with a left hand, and of course it was that punch that was the hardest punch Nikolai Valuev has ever been hit with, right? Valuev actually staggers around the ring a little bit. And if you look at the CompuBox stats on that fight, you're going to find out that David Haye hardly threw any punches in the fight. The way he dealt with Nikolai Valuev's length was by being outside of it, right? He's away from Valuev, who's much bigger than him, right? He's only coming in spots. And his point was simply to come in with power. Now, Manny Pacquiao is coming in with volume, a little bit different, right? He's a Freddie Roach fighter. He's a volume ambush guy. Now, my point to you is simply this. Low volume ambush guys will throw volume after they hurt you. Take a look at David Haye against Enzo Maccarinelli, right? David Haye's outside. He throws a haymaker. He hurts Maccarinelli. Then he hops inside with his full arsenal. Take a look at David Haye against Audley Harrison. He's outside. Harrison actually, for all of the fraudly comments and for all of the, he hasn't delivered after winning a gold medal comments, Harrison actually is a pretty talented boxer up close. But what David Haye does in that fight is he's outside his range. Then he comes in, throws a bomb. When Harrison is hurt, that's when David Haye is up on him. Victor Ortiz has that rare athleticism that Pascal and David Haye have. He's blessed with great feet. He can move around the ring. Take a look at the Nate Campbell fight. right? He can move around the ring. He's mobile. He also has knockout power, and he can throw the punch from distance. Understand, you have to have burst to pull it off, right? Because you're outside Floyd's range. That means you're really outside your own range. You need to be able to take a step forward, get in range, then deliver a power shot. I believe if you're up close on Floyd the entire night, he's going to deconstruct you. He's going to know the angles. If you're coming in with a lot of jabs on Floyd, right, and you're not a volume guy like Manny Pacquiao, if you're coming in with a lot of jabs on Floyd, and Floyd, is able to dodge most of the jabs, you're finished. Because where are you if you're jabbing Floyd? You're right in front of him, right? You're running up against Floyd Mayweather's defense. You're going into his strength, right? And so that's why I say the guys who I believe would have success against Floyd are guys like unknown 147 welterweight Brad Solomon, right? This is a guy who's outside, knows how to use the ring, then can come inside with an ambush, and in Solomon's case, he knows how to tie you up after the ambush. He literally can clinch. He can stop you from hitting him back. That's the only way to me to beat a guy like Floyd who has near impenetrable defense, who, you hit him, he's able to cover up, he's able to make adjustments. What Shane Mosley did wrong, in my opinion, in his fight, is after he hits Floyd with the right hand on the button and Floyd's knees buckle, Mosley was unable to take a step back and then have the implicit threat of that power shot, or take a step in. Floyd was holding on to his hand for dear life. Mosley, unfortunately, was unable to take a step in like David Haye did against Enzo Maccarinelli, right? That's what Victor Ortiz has to do, right? It's a intercontinental ballistic missile type of approach. You're outside against a guy who has a great shell, right, who doesn't even move back when you charge him, right? Floyd tries to keep that front leg planted so he can have you run into his defense. Then he's countering you, and he's doing things like pull counters and all that other stuff. You want to be outside Floyd's world. You want to have the foot speed to be outside Floyd's world. Floyd doesn't move as well as he once did. Then you want to jump inside. If you have the skills of a Pascal, of a Haye, you want to jump inside with power shots, hooks, straight hands, not jabs. You don't want to waste time with jabs. Manny Pacquiao doesn't have the developed right hand and doesn't fight well enough backing up, in my opinion, to be Jean Pascal or David Haye. He doesn't fight that style. He's not low volume. He's high volume, right? He's not low jab. He's high jab. He's in your face. Not only that, he doesn't lead with power shots most of the time. He needs that jab. He's a lefty. It's a right jab. He needs that jab as a placeholder for his timing, right? He throws the jab. He knows he is in position. He knows his body is properly positioned to deliver a power left hand, right? I'm talking about a different fight style. I'm talking about David Haye outside on Valuev coming in with a left hand. Power shot, not a jab, power shot from the outside. That's the first punch. You don't get a lot of opportunities on Floyd. The point I'm making is if Ortiz can leap in with a haymaker, right? That's the term, low volume ambush fighting. If he can leap in with a haymaker and land on Floyd, and then find a way to keep Floyd from holding his hand like Floyd held Shane Mosley's after getting dazed, Ortiz has a chance. I don't want this to be a jabbing contest. If Victor Ortiz is right in front of Floyd and he's trying to outbox Floyd, standing right in front of him, he's going to lose this fight badly. My point is simply he needs to fight a David Haye style fight, and if he does, he has a chance. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.